All right, so today we're going to be doing a really awesome Thanksgiving turkey. So first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab our pencils because we're going to start drawing him right away. So first things first, let's draw his body. So he's going to take up most of our picture. So we're going to go, sorry, let me get rid of this little fuzzy stuff. We're going to go right near the top. Not all the way at the top because we still have to have room for everything else, but I'd say about a third. We're going to go just a little ways off from the middle. Start right here. We're going to do a great big curve around like that. So it's almost a half circle. Doesn't have to be a perfect curve. It's okay if it's a little bit funky looking. Most turkeys are funky looking. So my curve is about a little bit bigger than my hand. So it starts right here and then it ends right here. It's like 6 fingers long. That's about how big this curve of mine is. So once we have our curve, we're going to come just a little ways off to the side. I'd say about 1 finger up, about half a finger over, right about here. We're going to do kind of a backwards question mark. So we're going to have a great big curve up like that. And then it's going to curve in and down over like that. So it's almost like half a heart or backwards question mark, something like that. Okay, so once we have our question mark, we're going to come right here at the end, right there. We're going to do 1 curve over like this. It's not quite a half circle, but it's pretty close. It's not bad. And we're going to come up here and we're going to do just a teeny tiny line going down right there. And we're going to go back to that curve like this. So it's like a comma, but much bigger. All right, so once we have our little shape here, we're just going to put a triangle on him. This is our little turkey beak. All right, so we're not going to go in this corner. We're not going to go over here to the end of our beak. We're going to go right in the middle, right here. And we're going to curve in and then out and around, just like this. So we start right in the middle of our beak right here, curve in until you get to right about here on the neck, curve around like a circle so you get all the way back to the end of your question mark. All right, so once you have that, you're just going to take this curve right here and you're going to bring it back until we get to our neck right here. All right, we're going to give him an eye, which is just a little circle. You make whatever kind of eye you want to. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Put maybe a little curve here if you want to, or a little curve here, or both of them. Any of that's okay. All right, so we're going to come down here now and we're going to give our turkey a big old wing. So what we're going to do is we're going to start right about Right here is where it should start, and then right about here. So about the middle of our turkey, right here, we're just going to do a great big curve over like that. This is his wing, so make it as big as you want his wing to be. It can be this big, it can go out farther like that. However you want his wing to be, that is what you do. So once you have his wing, as long as you want it, you're just going to come over here to the end of your curve and bring it back until you hit your wing right there. All right, so we're going to make 2 diagonal lines at the bottom of his body right here. We're going to make him some feet. So we're just going to go 1 diagonal line, 2 diagonal lines. Nothing too hard about that. Then we're going to give him 2 little toes right there, making the letter V. And then 1 toe going the opposite way. So I'll zoom in on that so you can see it a bit better. It's a little hard to see right there. There we go. So you start at the end of your diagonal line right here. You just do 1 little skinny hot dog for a toe, and then 1 right next to it to kind of make a little letter V. Then you're going to come up, finish your toe, curve out the other way, finish this toe. And you're not going to go all the way back to your leg right here. You're just going to leave a little bit of space because we're going to go up, make ourselves a little bump right here, and up again until we get to the end of our turkey. So we're going to do the same thing over here. Come to the end of your leg, make a skinny little hot dog for a toe, make another skinny little hot dog so they make the letter V right there. And we're going to have this other toe go the opposite way. And we're not going to have these 2 guys touch. We just want to go up a little bit, curve around, and then up. 1 more time. All right, so once we have our legs, we're going to come up here and we're going to finish our wing. So all we want to do is want to make 1 curvy line that's just about half as big as this guy. He's right in the middle. Now we're going to leave this part alone because that's just the end of his wing inside his body. We're going to come over here and we're going to make a line going from here to here made of little bitty bumps. They don't all have to be the same size. Some can be bigger, some can be smaller, some can be tall, some can be short. You just have to make little bumps from here to here. So turkeys, and actually most birds, they have this really cool thing on their wings, where one part of their wing is filled up with teeny tiny little feathers that, well, what's the word I'm thinking of here? Overlap each other so you can barely see them. And then they have long feathers at the end to help them fly. So we're going to do some long feathers now. We're going to come right down here. And all we're going to do is we're going to make a diagonal line going that way. However big this diagonal line is how big your feather is going to be. So you're going to come around, kind of make the letter J. You're going to go back until you get to your wing again. Super easy. You're going to do the same thing over again, and the next feather, you don't even have to do that line because it's already here. It's that line. You just have to make a little curve over and then go back to your wing. Same thing. Little curve over, back to the wing. Little curve over, back to the wing. And you just keep repeating that until you get to the end of the wing, which is right there for me. Don't get frustrated if you can't do this right away. You just got to keep practicing until you get it right. And if you're having some trouble, you go ahead, you ask your mom or your dad for help. So next we're going to do the big round part of the end of his body right before we get to his tail feathers. So we're going to come right here and we're going to very lightly draw a big circle. The reason we're lightly drawing it is because we're going to put a bumpy line over it like we did right here on the top of that guy. But we didn't want to make a kind of lumpy circle. We want to have a nice circle. So what we're going to do is we're going to come right here and we're going to make this bump. We're just going to go bump. So the bump faces out and not in. And then once you get to your face, your turkey face, you're just going to skip over him, come over here on the other side, and keep going. All right, now if you have the room, so that has no eraser. This guy's got an eraser. If you have the room, you can erase that lightly drawn circle you did first. If you don't have the room, it's no big deal. We're going to use dark brown paint in a minute, so we're going to cover all that up anyway. I just like to make sure I have a nice, clean space to work with first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do another light circle. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more so you can see. There we go. So we're going to start right about here, I'd say, on our turkey. And we're going to do a lightly drawn circle all the way around him. Oop, that got a little bit too skinny there. There we go. Until we get to a little bit before his wing. Still has no eraser. And then instead of just continuing on to his wing, we're going to do a little diagonal line right there. So we're going to use this lightly drawn circle to put in our tail feathers. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little curve over that line right there, and then a diagonal line in towards the tail feather. Do the same thing. Just make a little bit of a skip, diagonal line to the end of the lightly drawn circle, make a little curvy line, and then diagonal line back to the body. So you're going to keep doing that until you get all the way over here. Not all of your tail feathers have to be the exact same length. It's totally okay if they aren't. and if you want to erase the little lines in between all of your tail feathers, you absolutely can. This is why we draw light. Now at the end of all these tail feathers, you're just going to put a little line about a third of the way down each of these guys because they're going to have a stripe at the end. Doesn't have to be exactly a third, could be a fourth, could be a sixth, could be just a little sliver at the end. It's your choice how big you want that stripe to be. Okay, so once we have this guy all finished with his tail feathers, we get to go ahead and paint. So I'm going to take one of my bigger brushes here because we're going to do the body first. Might as well get that out of the way. Open up my paint palette here. What colors? What colors? Here we go. So I'm going to take my bigger paintbrush. I'm going to swoosh it around in my water cup for a minute. Just get it all nice and wet, full of water. I'm going to wipe it on the edge of my water cup so I don't have too much water in there. And I'm going to do this in pieces. So I'm going to come with water over here and I'm going to lightly paint around this way. I'm going to go around the wing. I don't want to do the wing just yet. So you're not looking for a puddle, you're just looking for it to be nice and damp, maybe a little bit shiny, not a great big puddle. Now you can choose whatever kind of brown you would like. Choose a red brown, you can use a dark brown. Any kind of brown is okay, because there are lots of different kinds of turkeys. I'm going to choose a lighter brown, kind of a reddy brown here. I'm going to start filling in my turkey body. Alright, so once that first part is done, you're just going to rinse out your brush, wipe it off on the edge so there's not too much water. I'm going to do his wing now. So every time I do a new section, I like to come over to the one that I just did and put a little more water down, just so I don't have a hard edge right here where my first little puddle of water went. All right, now last section here. A little bit of water where I just was. So I'm going to get that weird hard stripe right in the middle. All right, so once you have this guy, his body all done, we're going to come over to part of his tail feathers. So we're going to take one of our smaller brushes here, and you get to choose what kind of brown you're going to put at the end of this. It could not be a brown. It could be a yellow or an orange or red, anything kind of Thanksgiving-y. So I'm going to choose a dark brown. Just take my little brush here. What I like to do with smaller areas is I like to do an outline first, and then I'll fill everything in. Because when you do the outline, it's much easier not to accidentally go outside of the line you just did with your pencil. It's kind of a big fence, so you don't make any mistakes by accident. Which is kind of how all mistakes happen, actually. Okay, so once all these little guys are done, we're going to come over here and we're going to start painting our little head. I'm going to grab my tiny brush. I'm going to find my pink. So because this is such a small area, you don't need to put water down first. You're going to go so quickly over the whole head, that's not really going to matter. So you're just going to paint very quickly with our pink here. If you accidentally go on to a little swoosh right here, that's okay. We're going to paint that dark red for his little gobbly part, the little gizzard. Or if you go over the eye, that's not a big deal either. We're going to paint that black. All right, so once that guy is done, we don't want to mess with anything over here. So we're going to take our little brush, and we're going to go over with our dark brown, and we're going to add some details on to our wings. Take this little guy here. All right, so you can use that dark brown to go over our wing here on that line. I'm going to go over my pencil lines right here. If you'd rather use a pen, that's okay too, but I like the way the dark brown looks. It can be kind of tricky to do though, if you're not used to a little a little paintbrush. All right, so once you've outlined everything just the way you want it to be, you can come in and you can start adding little bumps for his little layers of feather right here. Like you see, they don't have to be perfect. It's totally okay if they're a little messy. In fact, the messier the better. Alright, so once you have that guy all just the way you want him, you can come in with that little brush, and you can do whatever you'd like to these little feathers down here. I'm going to fill them up with some little stripes. If you want to leave them alone, if you want to put little feather lines down right down the middle, that's okay too. It's up to you. So once you're done with the end of his wings, you're going to take that little brush again. We're going to come down here. We're going to fill up his legs with that dark brown paint. Okay, so once you have this guy all filled out the way you want him to be, and even his legs, we're going to take, not a big brush, but not a super teeny tiny one either, just a medium brush. We're going to fill up the rest of these little tail feathers here. Because now this area is perfectly dry enough, we're not going to disturb anything. We want to leave this to dry for just a little bit. There we go. So sometimes I like to start from right to left because I am left-handed, and it makes it easier not to try and go over anything I just did. But if you are right-handed, it's easier to go from right to left. Sorry, left to right. All right, now with our tail feathers mostly done here, we're going to come with our small brush again, and we're going to decorate his head. So we want either a bright red or a dark red for this little part of him. Either one's okay. Doesn't really matter which one you pick so long as you like it. Now we'll paint his beak as soon as the rest of him is done drying, but in the meantime we can take a pen or a marker or something like that. We can come and we can fill in his eye here. There we go. Now while we wait for the tail feathers to dry and this part of his head, you can come with your little brush and you can start adding details that you'd like to the rest of your bird. It's a good idea to use the same dark brown you used on his wing over here. It's not super necessary, it's not like etched in stone, but it's a good idea. So I'm just going to come over here. Now we're going to fill some of him, not all of him, up with these little twirly swoopy lines that we did over here on his wing. They're mostly going to be around the edge right here. There we go. Now if you're all done over here, you can come over here. So I'm just going to go around those curvy lines that I did earlier. All right, we're going to come over here, do a little bit of these guys. Okay. So once you've got that guy all finished, you can come and you can finish up his beak. And the beak can be whatever color you'd like it to be. It could be orange, yellow, red, purple, anything you like. I'm going to do a nice little orange beak here. There we go. We have all this super fun detail all in our turkey body, but not much in our turkey tail feathers right here. If you'd like to, you can come in with your little brush and you can start adding in more fun things. So like you can add little lines right here at the end. Kind of break things up. You can outline things just like that. And then put a little something in there. Could be stripes, could be little polka dots, could be zigzags, anything you like. All right, so once that guy is done, you're just going to come in with your black pen. You're going to outline around his head. It's a little hard to see around all this dark black. Make sure it looks nice and neat. Right, and if you want to, you can put some lines here. All right, now that's the end of our turkey, but that's not the end of our project. So this last part is much more imaginative. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. There we go. Now, you can put whatever you would like to around your turkey. There are no rules. I'm just going to show you a few different things you could do. First, I'm going to paint a few leaves. So, take one of my smaller brushes here. I'm going to use a kind of brownish yellow, nothing super bright because this is a fall holiday after all, Thanksgiving. I'm going to take my little brush here and I'm going to use it like a pencil to just draw a leaf. I'm going to fill it in. You have to work quick when you're doing something like this because you don't want to have any sort of weird layers as far as painting goes. It doesn't have to be the same leaf either. Do a leaf that looks like this. All right, I'm going to switch over to a different color now. So it's important that you have different kinds of leaves and different kinds of colors. Not everything should be exactly the same as everything else. It's more fun when it's different. All right, and that is the end of our turkey project.